City Commission meeting to order. At this point in time, Pastor Terry Hall will lead us in the invocation, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Hall.
Father God, tonight as we come into this place, we are in a season of thanksgiving. We are pointing our hearts and our focus toward a celebration of the blessings that we have received in this season. And as we give thanks to you, as we honor you and glorify you because of the blessings you have allowed into our lives, we also come to a time of reorganization of our city government. And as we begin to organize and reorganize the positions and the appointments that are before us tonight, it is in the name of Jesus that we speak blessing upon each appointee and upon each one who is elected to fill a specific role. We ask, O Heavenly Father, that each of the members on the diocese and all of their support staff should be blessed and favored on high, that this government should be a blessing to this people in this community, and that we, O Lord, in the year to come, will come again in this season and rejoice and give thanks for the blessings that have filled our lives. May your peace that passes all understanding rule the hearts and minds of those in city government. May your joy that is unspeakable and full of glory fill them to overflowing, giving them the strength to accomplish what is necessary for this people. And Lord, we'll bless you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Jenny.
Mayor Jameson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones.
Here.
Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Lavin.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here. At this point in time, I'll have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion that the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved as printed.
I think. Yes.
So we're going to do that into this one?
Yes.
Okay, I
Okay,
apologize.
there's an amendment up here?
Okay, I got it. I thought it was on the next one. I apologize. For the agenda, what we'd like to do, I didn't know if it was this one or the next one here. I appreciate it. Like to amend the agenda to include a proclamation honoring Veterans Day.
Okay.
So if someone would make that motion, please, I would
Okay,
appreciate it.
I'll amend my motion to include the change that's required for tonight's meeting.
And Mr. Booth, you want to add something on the agenda on mine, or is this would be in the next one? The MPO?
Yes.
We want to do that on this agenda here? Okay, so do it again, Gloria.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the agenda be modified to include both items
There you go.
that's
Second.
required for tonight.
So I have a first and a second to amend the agenda, and it's going to be a proclamation for honoring of veterans, and then also appointing a member to the MPO. And I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the new agenda is adopted. And I apologize, folks, I thought these would go on the next mayor's agenda.
Right.
So Jenny, I close this thing out, or we go ahead and do these? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Approve the minutes for October 11th and 25th. Do I have a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the October 11th and 25th commission meeting minutes.
I second.
I have a first and a second to approve the minutes for the October 11th and 25th meetings. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None? Passes 5-0. At this point in time, I will call to adjourn the 2017-18 City Commission. Do I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
I adjourn the 2017-18 City Commission. Jenny?
Scott, on behalf of the council, the city staff, we really appreciate your work you've done. We've really been a team. You bet, sir.
Well, I thank you very much. Real quick, because that's not why the people are here. I simply want to thank everybody, and I want to thank these people up here, because this is, when you like who you work with, you don't mind coming to work. And so I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate the confidence that the citizens have had in the commission, not me, but the commission, because it's a group effort. Not one person does anything. So I greatly appreciate everyone here. That's enough. Darn right.
All my life.
Not even any reporters here to take your picture.
Always last.
As everybody knows, you were unopposed in this race, so you had no election, so there's your cheat sheet.
I appreciate it. I need it now.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
I, Scott Jamison, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations,
And
you're
I
in for
thank-
another 3 years.
And I thank you. I didn't need this the last time.
No, all right. You can just sit in the same place and then we'll,
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Commissioner Williams. Raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
I, Byron Williams, solemnly swear, affirm that I will support, honor, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida,
the Constitution and government of the United States and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and under the charter of the city of High Springs,
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of city commissioner on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of the city commission on which I am now about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome back.
All right.
I'd like to call to order the 2018-2019 City Commission. I'll do the roll call. Nancy Lavin,
Here?
Gloria James,
Here.
Brian Williams,
Here.
Scott Jameson,
Here.
Linda Jones.
Here.
And I'd like to take the newly elected commissioners, if you would like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
Ain't too much to say these days, is there? Thanks. Let's thank God that I'm able to serve the city of High Springs once again. If I'm not mistaken, it's been 13 years? 13 years. Watch it. Truly been, especially this past year was a wonderful year, and I just want to say thank y'all for the work that we've done for the citizens of High Springs. So again, to say thank you. It's a job between all of us, not just one.
Right.
All of us to accomplish this. So again, we say thank you so much.
Just thank you. I already said what I wanted to say. I appreciate everybody, appreciate your faith and confidence, and we have work to do, and we'll do it. You may not always agree, but I said when I first ran, and I'll say the same thing on this here, when the decision's made, it's what truly we believe is in the best interest of the city. There's no special interest during this one here. You can disagree with my decision, but it's not because of any intentional attack or so forth. So I appreciate your confidence and thank you very much.
I would like to accept nominations for the mayor position.
I make a motion to nominate Linda Jones.
Yes.
I'll second that. I'll second that motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
You are the mayor.
Thank you.
Now you can take
Yes, now I can take my flowers.
it.
He's ahead of
And
himself.
would you like
Very
to
nice.
say a few words?
Well, things will go on as they've been going before. I look forward to the next year, and will do all in my power to represent this commission and this city and the city staff who are so supportive to the best of my ability. Thank you.
You need to change seats?
No, if they can wait until we get the other one.
Okay. Okay. The mayor accepts the nomination for the vice mayor. You need to.
Oh, that's right. I am now the mayor. I will now accept nominations for the office of the vice mayor.
I would like to suggest that Commissioner Williams be our vice mayor.
For your second.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that Byron Williams will be the new vice mayor. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nah.
I expect that from him.
Does he have any experience?
Congratulations. And now we're gonna give all this stuff.
Scott.
Maybe.
He's there. Yeah.
I think your husband wants a picture of you with that gavel.
Oh, really?
And those flowers.
Maybe with the flowers is probably one, because he'll say, I did that. Now I have to move. I can see very well as long as I have lots of light. Okay. Now everything's moved and I can't find anything. Hold on just a second. We will now move on to continued business. Discussion of extension of WCA contract.
Madam Mayor, Jennifer will then give a presentation about the extension, and later on, the attorney will give an opinion.
So at the last meeting, y'all had requested to see some rates that would reflect the new rates that WCA is proposing for the next, which would be effective May 1st of 2019, and would go in effect till for 5.5 years would be the contract length. So that's what's on this sheet here that you have. And what I did was kind of play with, it should be in your packet.
Yes. Like that.
No, I don't have
It
one.
should be in your packet.
Yeah,
It should be included.
Did I overlook it?
It should be
she doesn't have a
I got
copy of
it.
it.
I flipped 2 pages. I did. I turned 2 pages.
Okay, so
I got it.
what the scenario I used was keeping the residential rates the same. And as you can see, the net effect of doing that is 46,000 plus revenue lost, the difference. And using, based on the users, we would have to make it up in the commercial rate. Now, the rates could be adjusted down a little bit because the net effect is a positive 16,000. We could get it to a break even. As I said, this is a scenario if we were to stay with WCA. Today, you all have to make a decision on whether to extend the contract or go out for an RFP. Which those rates would then take effect 5/1 of the, whether we chose to go with somebody new or we went with WCA. One of the things I do want to point out is we have some 96 businesses that have the 96 gallon that get twice a week pickup. We would, WCA has said that they would give them carts for them for a week, so they would double their carts and have one pickup and charge them the one flat rate, the same rate as once a week. So it would, instead of paying like $26, they'd be paying like $19, I think.
Now, when you say there's a loss of revenue on residential.
Because the rates would go, their cost
Okay, I
to
see.
us would go up.
Okay, so that's the loss to the city enterprise fund.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's if we kept the residential rates the same. Which, when looking at other towns that are close to us, we are one of the highest for our solid waste pickup for residential.
I hate putting the burden of this on the commercial businesses. I have a hard time with that because our businesses are, I know this firsthand, that we are nickel and dime to death. And, it may not seem like a lot, but an extra $20 a month, $40 a month is hard.
Commissioner, this is just one scenario. If again, y'all want to go out to do the RFP. I know Skip's here. I know we've talked about potentially that they would still honor these rates. Am I correct in saying that? Are you?
Yeah, Skip McCall, WCA. Good evening, Mayor and fellow commissioners. Again, we submitted our proposal for our renewal term. We always kind of give our, best proposal first. So that's what's before you tonight. I can't speak on record tonight and say, that we can, if we go out to bid, are we going to propose those same, numbers or what have you? What I can say is before you tonight, you have a proposal that has been scrutinized from the top down, and we've always, I feel like our company always gives our best forward. So I can safely say with honesty, this is what you have before you tonight for consideration.
Cost and what we do now. What do we charge now?
For residential, we charge $19.50. And the different commercial rates you can see are in that, where it says our current rates. The very first one is the commercial rates. Recycling would not change. So the changes are the commercial garbage that WCA is proposing is the commercial and the residential. No recycling and no of the garbage customers
Commercial
that have the carts, yeah. And I think we have 32 of them.
Yeah, there's approximately 34 customers that have the 96-gallon commercial carts within the city that get twice a week collection. So inevitably, what we're proposing with Jennifer is those customers that currently have, those 34 customers that have those carts that have Tuesday, Friday pickup, that we're willing to give them an extra cart or two or three if they need, and we would move them to all on Friday. And by doing that, it's actually going to save them $6 or $7 a month. So it's actually going to be a savings for them to be able to have additional carts for that Friday pickup. So they wouldn't be actually paying for twice a week. They would be paying for just the once a week on Friday.
And that's most of our small businesses on Main Street.
That is correct. You have a lot of, you have in totality about 100 and I would say over 120, I believe it is, commercial cart customers. So there are a fair amount of customers that utilize that service.
And there's actually 85 at one time a week and 36 at 2 times a week.
What would be the effective date of the increase per the contract?
Yes, sir. Great question. Again, the other thing that we're offering is that you guys, these rates would go into effect, as Jennifer has stated, on May 1st of 2019. However, we would not ask for a CPI increase or any additional adjustment until 2.5 years later. So you have 2.5 years that you will have those rates locked in. Traditionally, sometimes you guys would have an annual CPI. So, but what we're saying is, hey, we've been a good partner with the city. We worked well in good faith. We're proposing for those CPI adjustment. It would be effective October 1 of 2021. So it's basically 2.5 years from the implementation date of the new rates, which would be 5/1 of 19.
Madam Mayor, your manager asked me to look at the contract, which I did, and Jenny was kind enough to send me the signed contract, so I was able to look it over. The term of the contract does run from May 1st, 2014, terminating April 30, 2019. The contract can be extended either an additional 3 years or 5 years, depending on what you would like to do. So you have the power and ability under this RFP to extend the contract for another 3 years, another 5 years, depending on what you want to do. So the contract does allow flexibility for you to do the extension and without sending it out to an RFP. That's a fairly involved process. The RFP, there's not a lot of service providers in this area. So, it's really your determination if you want to do that at contract end, or if you want to do it for a 3-year period extension, if you want to do it for a 5-year period extension. It's y'all's ability to make that determination. I think what WCA is telling us is that they're asking for the increase for the present, and then they'll hold for until October 1st, 2021. That's the proposal that's before you. Now, they do have the right under paragraph 10.2 to adjust their rates, and the compensation payable to contractor for all solid waste collection and disposal services hereunder shall be at the rates set forth on Exhibit A and adjusted as follows. For the annual periods of this agreement, the contractor may request a rate adjustment up to 70% of the increase in the Consumer Price Index as published by the U.S. Department of Labor for the immediate preceding 12-month period, which the city shall not unreasonably delay or deny. So there is the ability to negotiate for a longer period of time if we so choose, per your contract, and they, WCA, are entitled to request an increase as per these parameters. I haven't checked the math. That's not my bailiwick. I think that's more Jennifer's bailiwick. So as long as she feels the math is correct, then they certainly have the right to do that. And the contract reads that the city will not unreasonably delay or deny. So that those are the provisions of the contract. You're authorized to extend this contract, if you so choose, to the October 1st, 2021 period. If you so choose, you have the ability to do that.
Is there any discussion?
Did you, by any chance, check with other neighboring cities that have a different carrier to see if these rates are comparable? Have you done any?
I have. The residential rate that they're proposing is right on par with Newberry has
WCA, Wasteboro.
So their rates are the same, and same with Alachua. I think Alachua is $14.75. Now, Alachua commercial is open market, so they do not provide commercial garbage for their city. It's done on whoever you want to pick. The commercial rates for Newberry are a little bit less than these rates are. Now, Waste Pro is in Archer. They did that, I believe Courtney helped them do their proposal, and it came back very high. So that's one's been done more recent, I believe, than Newberry. Was Archer. I
Yeah,
think
that
Archer
one was this
the last
past year.
Yeah.
That's correct. They're going to open market in Archer on their commercial as well.
When's the last time that the rates were raised residential?
Well, I have to look, but
They were October 1. They went into.
No,
our rates.
Oh,
I know, I've been here for 4.5 years, and they've been the same.
Well, I know we've eaten the raise.
We've eaten it,
There's been
yes,
a
we've
CPI a
eaten
couple of times. We've
I don't know if you remember Jenny or not.
Okay. I mean, I just know we've eaten the
Yes,
increase,
we've
CPI
eaten
type
the
stuff. We
increase.
haven't increased.
We upped the commercial, and that's kind of was leveling out. They hadn't been done even longer than the residential.
Right, but we just did that a few
Yeah, we
months
just
ago.
did that one, right.
Yeah.
But you did that with the canisters and so forth. We had to adjust the size of them because there were some issues with
Yes.
and so forth.
And he was getting the right card and all that, yes.
So how do we get to finagle with these numbers? How much time do we have to finagle with these numbers?
We have one more meeting. We have till the end of the month. So you can, if you want to see something different, I'll be glad to do however what y'all want to see it. If you want to see it more in residential, and less in commercial. But like I said, if you look at the bottom, the 16,000 can go back and reduce the commercial rates and make that come to net zero. Does that make, y'all see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, I can reduce the commercial rates.
I just hate that the businesses keep carrying.
If you want to see a scenario that's all residential,
Right.
I'll do
No,
that.
I just, I hate that the businesses keep bearing the burden to distribute it. So I would like us to just look at, when we last did the residential increase,
Okay.
if you could check into that and then, evaluate that, because we have a lot more residential users and the hit would be smaller,
Okay.
per entity.
Do you want me to do a blend?
Yeah, kind of because we just raised the commercial rates and to hit them with another increase is hard.
I can do it all on residential, and then I can kind of do a blend with residential and a little bit on residential, a little bit on commercial. Bring those two scenarios back.
Yes.
And he's got something else because I can see the look on his face.
I take the 16 out of net loss and so forth. I take the 16, I roll it in. I'd like to know on the deal, we haven't done the water, and I don't want to do it, but I don't want to hammer commercial on everything either. I would just be interested if you sat there and you say, okay, if we raised ours to 20, 50 cents. I'm just saying, I don't want it larger, but if you did 50 cents or something like this one, because like I said, we haven't raised them, and I know that we've eaten the deal. I don't think one should encumber all of it. I mean, I think we ought to, this is a joint venture. This is the city. It's not residential against commercial. This is the city. So, I mean, I would like to, several things. I mean, I'd like to $20, roll the $16,000 back in. And then maybe, if you want to go 20/50, so you'd have an option of raising it 50 cents or a buck, roll the 16 in and see where that put us. For me, I would like to know if we incrementally did it. Explain to me again on this deal for 2.5 years, whatever this thing is, it doesn't change at all.
That is correct. So when the rates would go into effect, effectively May 1st, 2019, you would have 2.5 years before you would receive any kind of a rate adjustment.
And the rate adjustment would be the CPI stuff. You're not coming in at a deal. So your rate would stay the same. You wouldn't be coming back. So that's good for 5 years.
Yeah, that's correct. So the rate would be good for 2.5 years, and then it would be a CPI the last 2.5 years, something like that. Correct.
Right. The rate stays the same, but then the CPI, you could apply that the last 2.5 years.
Exactly. That's correct.
And
Yes, sir.
we would still have the recycling and the yard waste that
Yeah,
we have.
absolutely.
Everything
Yeah,
would.
we're not doing anything with service levels. Well, actually, I think we're working on making the service levels even that much better in the revised contract that we've been working with Jennifer on.
Yeah.
We've done some things with our service levels that we think that's going to be an enhancement to the current process. So.
And some of the things that whoever you all choose, that we have some liquidated damages for when things aren't picked up or whatever, that there's a monetary value. But just real quick, on the half cent, it's $13,950.
What's that now?
If you do 50 cents per
50
residential.
cents per household we would get $13,950. If you do $1, it's $27,900 roughly.
Yes.
I knew it was a while. That's so 6 years. It hasn't gone anywhere.
You know we like you to keep coming to these meetings. Can you do those other scenarios for us? And
what percentage do you guys are thinking that you want to absorb? I mean, I can kind of come back and look. I will have an idea of what the transfers are going to be, because the transfer project will be done the Monday before Thanksgiving, and you guys don't meet until Tuesday after. So I'm going to know what the transfer is. But the reason the transfer is high, because the garbage is a lot of administrative time, and that's why it's high. There's a lot of bills that go out. There's a lot of phone calls. They've gotten better. We've definitely gotten better, but I'll have a better idea of that. So we can absorb more.
Yeah, and just to add, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say we can probably absorb maybe some of the cost more. I know we have been for years, but maybe we could. But I'll bring like 3 scenarios and try to make it best for everybody. And I mean, I know what you're saying, because the commercial has gotten, and there's a smaller group.
Mm-hmm.
Now the commercial carts they're not going to have a change, nor, and actually, like he said, the 30-something that have the twice pickup will they'll be only paying for one, but they'll have the carts, as many carts as they need to get them through the week.
Correct. No additional cost. It's
right, but like say Madeleine's outreach, then their dumpster goes up, and that's another cost. There's small businesses that have the dumpsters.
No, I'm not disagreeing at all.
Okay.
And some of those efficiencies that we were discussing earlier, with regards to our routes. On Friday, we understand that there's someone here that we can communicate with. We've actually dedicated a route supervisor that he is here on Fridays for all day, from beginning to end. And what he does is his role to make sure that all routes are clean before we leave the city. So just little things like that we're doing operationally to make sure that on Monday we're not flooding Miss Jennifer and Terry down there with a flood of calls.
And it has gotten much better. It has. I
Thank you.
absolutely have seen that there's been a significant change over the last few months. So I'm gonna say we should wait.
Yeah. I hate to keep putting it on commercial business also. So you say you're gonna bring back 3 scenarios to kind of let us look at?
Yeah, I'll do one where the residential absorbs the cost, and I'll do a blended, but I'll also do one where the city absorbs some of it as well. But we can get it to do where we can do that. But yeah, I'll bring 3 back at the next one.
So how long we need?
Good.
Best we need to take care of this. We need to keep putting it off and putting it off. How long?
Oh, no, we have to make a decision, you have to make a
By the
decision
next meeting.
by the next
The
meeting.
next
By the
meeting.
next meeting.
By the next meeting,
Next
yeah, we're
meeting.
good. That's why we started it early, because we knew it was gonna take some time, because this is a big thing, a decision to be made for the city, and so Mr. Booth had me bring it early so that y'all would have time to discuss it.
Do we
So
need to
we'll
make a
table it?
motion?
Do we need to have a motion to?
No, you can just have staff put it on the next meeting if you so choose.
Okay, then you will,
That's the one.
Okay.
thank you.
Hey, thank you and for
Thank
your
you,
consideration.
Skip.
as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item,
Public comment.
Do the proclamation.
oh, yeah, would you, sorry.
Okay.
Your meetings are so quiet now, and now I'm showing up again, so I'll put my hand up. Thank you. So when's the next meeting?
27th.
27th.
I'm sorry?
Tuesday.
I'm sorry. So we'll continue with recycling, because I heard you say something about no recycling?
Now, recycling, it doesn't
We don't
change.
affect in recycling.
Yeah,
I
it
think
just,
that's
the
what we
rates don't
said.
change on recycling.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll still be included in the same rate
Right.
that we have?
The recycling and the yard waste that they currently do.
Okay. The other thing that I would ask or suggest is that when you put it on the November 27th agenda, and it's going to be a vote whether you're going to keep them or RFP, that it says discussion for extension of WCA contract on trash, because I kind of didn't remember who WCA was. And so your trash is going to come up, and that affects what the city people will see. If they see WCA contract, they may not know what that is. But on the next agenda, it says discussion of trash rates, trash increase, trash fees. Just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
We did miss one item, and that was the investment.
Yes.
Florida
And we
Trust.
also, well, we didn't get to the proclamations.
Yeah, that too.
Madam Mayor, do you want me to read the proclamation
Would you
if you'd
please?
like? Madam Mayor, this is a proclamation of the City of High Springs, whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining our freedoms and way of life. And whereas tens of millions of Americans have served in the armed forces and hundreds of thousands of Americans have given their lives while serving in the armed forces. And whereas our veterans are brave and selfless individuals who, when duty is called, has willingly put themselves in harm's way to defend the lives and liberty of others, whereas their abiding patriotism and enduring devotion to the ideals on which the United States is founded can never fail to inspire us. And whereas November 11th, 2018 is the 100th anniversary of Armistice Day, which honored all the heroes that died in World War I. Now, therefore, our mayor, and this is signed for Scott Jameson, but we can change that to our current mayor. Okay, you couldn't predict. On the 8th day of November, hereby recognized November 11th, 2018 as National Veterans Day, and urges all citizens to acknowledge and honor the contributions of our veterans to the principles of democracy, individual freedom, and human rights. Signature for Linda Jones, our mayor, and attested by Jenny L. Parham, our city clerk. The appropriate motion is passed the proclamation as read by its entirety.
Any discussion?
Good idea.
Oh, yes,
Well, you got to do it.
yes.
I appreciate the oversight the way you guys put it on there. So I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution.
I'll second, okay.
You do it.
We can double second it, okay?
Right. All those, it has been moved and seconded that we accept the proclamation for Veterans Day on November 11th, 2018. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass. Motion
Jones?
passes 5-0.
Could I say something real quick? The Lions Club reached out to me, and the Lions Club and the military vets are doing a memorial over here next door at 9:30 on Sunday morning here, and then they're having a breakfast at the Lions Club afterwards that's free for anybody to attend to honor our veterans. So I want to make sure everybody knows 9:30 on Sunday morning at the Veterans Memorial next to City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you.
But the
And the
Wanna do the
MPO.
MPO thing?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have a request from the League of Cities that we have a representative from this is the Alachua League of Cities, that we have a representative at the MPO. The MPO is an organization of the Gainesville Council, the Alachua Council, this is the Alachua County Commission. It also is the Regional Planning Group, and there's one member from the League of Cities. And it's our turn, and we're really looking for, or they're looking to appoint a representative for the league. So at their next, if you appoint someone, then they'll bring it up at their next meeting and then ratify it. And the meetings, I think, are monthly. And they have to do, it's a metropolitan planning organization. It has to do with the funds that DOT gets and what roads are done within the county.
When are the meetings, do you know?
I don't have a list of that.
Okay.
All that was brought up was they were looking for a representative.
I have my copy of them.
So I guess we're looking for a volunteer.
Yes, we are.
I might consider it, but
Yes.
I'd have to know when the meetings were, because I don't know what other commitments. That's something I would have to be able to make that decision.
Well, we can find out what
Sure.
the meetings are. I'm sure I have it on the information that I received last meeting, but I'll get back with you.
Okay. Gloria and I will
Address it as
consider doing it, right?
Yeah.
Depending on
Yeah,
meeting.
because I was gonna say the same thing you said, as long as it was not on a
Oh, okay.
night that I already had a meeting. So
Okay.
yeah, we could do it together. not a
I think
problem.
they're in the daytime. I don't think they're at night.
Okay, that would be even better. Maybe, maybe not.
When do you have to have it? When do you have to submit the name? Is there a time frame?
Before the next league meeting, so.
Right.
Can
it's
you
not
find
till
out
next
tomorrow?
month. Huh?
Can you find out tomorrow or something?
Sure.
Not tomorrow, next week, and then send us an
Well, then-
email?
Yes.
Linda says she thinks she might have it in her
In the
information.
minutes that
that
the
she
last
got.
meeting that we had, so I will
Okay,
let you both know,
okay.
okay?
And then we can follow up with you.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
Okay, I think we've caught up now, right?
No, we have the investment.
No, yes, that's
It's on
number
the
2
trust?
on the, yes.
Right.
It is the discussion of investments in Florida Trust.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, we are now in a position we actually can invest some of our money, and the finance director has found a way that we can get 2%. That's better than nothing that we were getting, and especially now that we have money in the bank. And so I'll let her discuss it.
At the last meeting, if you remember, 2 meetings ago, Amaris came that day and
Yes.
sent me email. Well, what that 2% covers is just our money market account, which is where we put the reserve. So that will be at 2%. But I do need a letter from, I guess, the mayor, saying that you all approve us doing that, even though it's already sitting in their bank and all of that. But what I would like to do, what I'd like to make a recommendation is that we go ahead and let them do the 2% fixed rate on the money market and we have another account, it's for the last bond payment. And it's right now close to 500, it's like 475,000. I'd like to move that because we're almost to the point where we don't have to make any more deposits. We have to make one more year, and we we have paid the last bond payment, and it'll sit in that fund for the next 30 years. I'd like to get a nice rate of return on it, because it might be even, can pay a payment and a half by that time, maybe two, who knows, what it will do over 30 years. But anyway, that's what, I'd like to just move that and leave the money market, since it's going to give us a 2% return already. They said it was indefinitely.
So the money market 2% fixed rate is with Ameris,
Yes.
and then the balance
Would go to, the other one would go to the Florida Trust.
And what is their annual yield here on this?
Last year's been like 2.14, I think. But it, on average, it has done better. You can see through the years, it's done better than.
Because it's saying year-to-date, 2018, 1.30, 1.21, 1.15, and then a 7-day SEC yield of 2.13%. So I'm just trying to figure out what the rate of return, this is a variable, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is it guaranteed? Is the money guaranteed in this fund, like that money that we put in there, the $500,000?
That $500,000 is not guaranteed. You only have $200,000 of FDIC insurance. So, yeah, 200. So, but it's been around for, I think I added the history, and it's been around for 60 years. And I gave you, because I asked them the same question, I had an email in there from them, and they explained the whole thing about the security of it.
And what are we getting on that fund that,
Right now, we're getting nothing, pretty much.
Did you ask Ameris if they would give you money on that one? Did you ask
They only gave us the money
But did you
market.
ask them if they would give us interest on that other, on the,
I asked for all of the accounts.
Okay.
I didn't ask for that one specifically, and it would have to be moved to a money market account.
Looks like they would have something that goes on
You
the
know,
money
it's
market.
been sitting in that bank, I know, for quite a few years, and they've never offered anything until they do look at our agenda, because she called me today. We have a meeting, Mr. Booth and I have a meeting with Maris. So they do look at our agenda, and they're offering now because we're looking elsewhere.
but I know for myself personally in my own business and personal life, I go back to the bank that I deal with if I find something better somewhere else, and I go and say, hey, would you match this before I move it, because I have a business relationship with them. So that's why I'm
I
asking.
did do that at first,
Okay.
and that was the rate. And then, like I said, the day of the last meeting, I got an email that said they would do it the 2%. It's your all's decision how you want to do it. If you wanted to open a money market account, put that bond money in there and keep it in Maris, that's fine too.
We got the 2% that we need a letter on for the money in Ameris.
Yes, we need that one.
So that one, I think we agreed on. Then you have the other money, the bond money, and whether or not we want to keep it where it's at, gathering like 0.0 something.
Well, if we keep it out of Maris, we need to, if we decide to keep it out of Maris, we would have to open a money market.
Right, you would have to do it, because right now it's like 0.70, so, or the Florida Trust. So the option is keep it at Maris, open up some sort of a money market account, which is gonna fluctuate, or you're gonna go with the trust.
She said it's fixed.
On the money market, for the other money, for the bond money, so what would the bond money be?
It would be
For
variable.
450,000. What's the rate on that one?
Currently, 0.008.
Right, if it stays at Ameris.
If it goes to the money market account.
I would say that she would give us that same 2%.
2%,
And it would be guaranteed at that point, right? I mean, the 500,000 or 470.
450, no, only 200,000 is.
Yeah, your
guaranteed.
FDIC insurance, and I think
Yeah, that's.
So either way we go, it won't be.
But none of it's guaranteed under this
Okay.
one. At least 200,000 is guaranteed when
Right.
you have it in a bank.
Yeah.
So none of it is guaranteed, even though this is an established institution that has a good track record. There's not any guarantee.
And that has to stay in for 30 years. Because what we do is have one payment for our bond that has to stay there. And so when we come to the end of that bond in 30 years, which will all not be here, then that payment then would go to the last payment.
Are there any comments from the audience?
Madam Mayor, you're limited under Section 218 as to what Jennifer can do with the money. It's got to go into a money market account. There's a very complicated procedure that you can follow if you want to do an investment plan, and you have to go through a process of bidding it out and that sort of thing, if you so choose. There are some exemptions under the statute that municipalities can utilize, and the intergovernmental investment of which this trust is a member allows you to be exempt from the process under the statute or a money market, but you just can't invest in many other vehicles other than what we're talking about.
Those are the two. Okay.
So we couldn't move it into the money market account at Ameris?
You could.
Yeah.
The money market does fit under the exemption process, as does the trust.
Okay.
It has to be a very secure investment. Many managers got in trouble. I don't mean city managers. There are retirement managers that got in trouble for investing money in all kinds of schemes. And that really brought down in the United States a whole bunch of because they were, it was 6% was really looking good till there was nothing, you know.
Does Ameris charge us fees on our accounts, checks, anything like that? Do you get charged fees?
What's the benefit with the trust? You tell me, why would you pull it out of Ameris to give it to the trust?
Well, the reason why I was doing it, because of the rate of return. I'll give you an example. I got bank statements today. I got the money market account. We got $46. Got $575,000+ in it. We got $46. 2% term, we should have got about $900.
That was prior to them raising.
But they haven't raised it until we get them a letter.
Okay. So we need to get the letter.
You can take the amount of money, you could do the same thing with the 2% with that and keep it there?
Yeah, I mean, that's what y'all want.
I know, I know you prefer to do the trust.
It's not whether I prefer or not. I feel like the relationship they have, and the lady, I've met her 3 times. I feel like I already have a better relationship than I do with Maris. Now, Maris is now meeting with, as I said, with Mr. Booth and I. Never, you know.
They have a new manager over there, don't they? They have a new
this is
manager.
like the third one.
Right. No, I know they have a brand new manager over there. Started last week or 2.
Yeah, we want,
So how long Florida Trust been in existence?
60 years.
I mean,
I think 60 years.
Yeah, 60.
60.
It's in that
60.
60?
60.
Yeah.
60.
60.
60.
And the marriage?
Yeah, let's see. They
A year? 2 years?
Ameris? No, Ameris is bought out
Yeah, they bought out
M&S.
Bank of America and
M&S.
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 We were with
They're,
M&S.
but, you know, so is some of these other banks have been bought out.
Yeah.
That's true. You see I'm a point now.
Mm-hmm. We see that all the time.
Yeah. Talking about money, got to be there for
30 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in towards Florida Trust myself. They're more stable. They're around for 60 years. When they do give the interest pretty much be 2%.
Mm-hmm.
And
it fluctuates.
Well, it fluctuates with the market, and you can see historically, theirs have done better than average. You can look, and I don't know whether it's in this packet again this time, but you can see the rate of return over, a long period of time, and it's above the national average consistently. And Alachua County is there, and I think Newberry just opened an account there. Some other ones on there, but I know a lot of.
But it's still saying on this paper that I'm looking at that the portfolio gross and net at 1.330 and 1.21 year to date. And so we would be guaranteed 2% at Ameris on the money market account, and this is going to fluctuate with the market, which the market's kind of bouncing around right now, and is not really that stable. And Ameris is our local bank that services us, so I just I don't see the 2% here in this trust fund.
You guarantee the 2% with the merits. I'm just saying that's a guarantee, and I'm asking. I'm not going to. You're going to meet with them. You get a guarantee. This isn't, and I guess. I'm the buyer on the deal, but I'm sitting there going, I said, we're talking about other people's money. This isn't my money to where I can go, I can roll the dice. I think American, on the trust, and I'm with Byron on the deal. I mean, I get to 60 years. But to do a budget and to do things, I think if you know something's set and you've got it, you can make projections because you know what's coming in as opposed to what the market's going to do. I'm not a financial person, but it just seems to me if I'm going to.
No, I agree, but I would say this: you don't ever budget money on interest. I mean, you should never budget your interest. That interest should be put away.
That's a given.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if it's my money, I can roll the dice. We're dealing with other people's.
I don't think we're rolling the dice with Florida Trust. I don't think
so either. But I'm just saying.
But I hear you. But if that's how you want to go, I can make sure that you get the 2% guaranteed on.
That's what I'm thinking. You know what you're getting there. They've told you the 2%, so you know that's yours.
She said forever.
With this one, you don't know where the market's going to take you.
Say, well, that forever only was 6 months.
But you have it right here, and she responded to you.
Yes, but I'm just
saying.
It
will be fixed indefinitely. It says in her email back to you.
Yes.
And I gotta be honest with you, in my own personal accounts and my business accounts, if all of a sudden interest rates are going up and they're 5%, I'd go back to my bank and say, hey, I've got $500,000 sitting there. Are you going to give me 5%? And they would probably do it because they don't want me to move my money. So if we're guaranteed the 2% and for whatever reason the banks start to actually pay money, which they haven't done for many years, we could always go back and say, hey, what are you going to do to keep us at a future? That's just, all businesses do that. That's just the way that you leverage your money that you have. So.
When do you got to know this?
Well, the sooner the better, since we're losing interest.
Can you do the one?
Yeah.
Can you do the one and go ahead and transfer the one and let us think about the other one? I'd like to do this on this trust thing. This is all this thing does. I know this. I haven't read it all. I've read most of it.
And today I got the current, because she emails me now once a month the current thing, so I'll send you all of those.
I know this solely invests governance, trust. I mean, that's what they do. So, I mean, also, you're looking at a specialty type of thing where Ameris Bank, that's not their specialty. So, I mean, I'm arguing against myself here. I know that.
No, so if you all want to do that, and we'll get the letter to the bank, then we'll just bring it back at the next meeting. Okay?
I mean, we can do the one, right?
But I said I need the letter.
We can do the letter for the one, get that one set, and then gives us 2 weeks or so to look at this a little bit more before we decide what to do with the other 5.
Maybe you could come over over on Tuesday and sign a letter?
Absolutely.
Get that. Okay.
So we will table this to the
Well-
next meeting for the balance.
You don't need anything to sign the letter, we don't need to do anything on that, right? We don't need
No,
to,
that's him. It's already there. All
Okay.
we're doing is saying, take the rate.
okay, I just want to make sure we didn't have to do something.
Okay.
The next item is citizen requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please state your name for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Marilyn Poland. I am the mother of a young woman who purposely moved to High Springs to bring her husband and create a family. Both of the kids are public servants. My son-in-law works as a forester. He flies in airplanes and he checks for the bug infestation, in the pine forests throughout the state of Florida. My daughter is a special ed teacher. She works in the city of Gainesville, and she works in the farm to feed program for special ed kids. She used to work at Gainesville High School for about 10 years in special ed. They're right now producing a family. I have a brand new little granddaughter who was born last night, Babel Ann. Thank you. And the problem is this. They have a sweet little house right there behind the diner by the subway, and it's 3 years they've been in the house. They have a septic tank. They had it pumped once for a cost of $350. Did I mention they both have student loans? They had it pumped a second time within 3 months. And it turns out that the septic tank was created with a popcorn type procedure. And when the popcorn exploded through the pipes, it let all the sand into the septic tank, and there's no way it can be cleaned out anymore. I have been working with Jennifer's office and to try to get the problem solved. They barely can flush a toilet. They cannot do laundry. And there's one shower a week per person. The toilets are bubbling up, and we're in desperate need of help. The office tells me that we need to do over $13,000 to put in the grinder system in her neighborhood. The kids don't have it. It turns out that it's almost $3,000 to start with a connection and an impact fee. I could help them with that. I'm a retired school teacher. My pension would give me that. But $300 a month, they can't afford. It's $286 plus their water bill goes up another $40, so that brings it to over $300. Jennifer's office suggested, very graciously, to change it from a 3-year payout to a 5-year payout, but that still is beyond their ability to pay. They just can't be hit with that much of a bill. They don't know what to do. So since my daughter's in the hospital with the baby, I volunteered to come and ask for your help. Can you please extend this out so the kids could afford $100 a month? That they could do, and they could stay in their home and raise their family. The address of the house is 19052 Northwest 243 Terrace. My name is Marilyn Poland, P as in Peter, O-L-E-N. My phone number, and I am authorized to speak for her. She has given Jennifer the authorization. My phone number is area code 239-289-8593. My daughter is spending tomorrow in the hospital, and then she'll be coming home the next day with the baby. I really need help on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rowland.
Yeah, there's, however, there is a little bit of what do you call it, the greater policy. There isn't any gravity.
Is that area's got sewer, right?
It does.
Okay, but this house was not connected?
I'll talk to David and we'll reach out to our contractor and see if they can help as a humanitarian. Good.
It was missed, I didn't get the house out.
Sir, I really don't know, you know, that's where I'll check on it and then we'll see if we can, somebody to reach out and help.
Mr. Barnes?
Mayor, Bob Barnes again. One, as I heard that, you may want to revisit the sewer thing. There's a low income clause in there.
There is?
There's a low income clause in there and a waiver of some things.
In the impact fee ordinance, there is
And
something
I
for low.
can guarantee you that when I go home tonight, I'll look it up because I still got the file.
But it sounds like they don't qualify because both of them work.
Yeah, there's a threshold on the low income, and there may be,
Yeah, I
but there's
know.
also some other things in there. Take a look at that. The other thing that I heard tonight, the bond payment is going down, or we are not funding the bond payment as much. So as you think about the next meeting and the trash, and the water, or the trash, you may want to ask that question, is that bond payment going down, and can you lower sewer to pick up bond, pick up funds on trash rather? Can sewer go down because the bond payment's going down and trash come up? Just a thought. Quickly, proclamation for the Veterans Day. I thank you for that. I thank Jenny for that. I thank you all for that. Veterans are very proud. We're very proud of what we do and proud of what we've done. There's an event Sunday, Kanapaha Park. That's a big day. They're dedicating the whole new park. And now I'm going to get to the hard part. Veterans are very proud. Your city manager at the last CRA meeting where we talked at the county walked by me, said in my ear, "I'm coming after you for stolen valor." Beyond that, in the hallway, I said, "What's your problem?" And he said, with his finger at me, "You're not who you claim to be. You're a private with a general discharge." I provided information to your attorney. I provided information to your city. Documentation that I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps with an honorable discharge. I was insulted by the defamatory language of your city attorney at that meeting. I provided the information, and I would have expected to receive an apology. I did not. So what has happened, there's a saying, let sleeping dog lie. The sleeping dog is awake, and we'll be here until I get that apology, coming and making sure that my opinion's heard and trash goes out in the agenda and things get done. But I'm not happy, and he should have never said that to a Marine Corps veteran, to insult me and degrade me in the way he did in the public, in the hallway of the Alachua County building. And he's got the information, and I've got it right here too. Honorable discharge, staff sergeant, and every one of my ribbons is documented. And I even have more than that to tell you about my history as a combat Marine in Vietnam. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I've turned that over to a veterans group, and it's not a city.
Okay.
David Lynch, L-I-N-C-H. 1,000 people die in this country every week from alcohol abuse. That doesn't count the number of people that are killed by drunk drivers, the children that grow up in divorced homes, 1,000 people are killed or die every year from alcohol abuse. So when the city invites High Springs Brewery and others to serve alcohol on the first Friday, they are approving and condoning something that kills at least 1,000 people each week.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. Anyone else? I will now close that portion of the meeting, and we will move on to new business. We need to appoint a chair and vice chair to the CRA board. Do I hear any nominations?
Mayor Jones, could I make a statement? I would like to make a request to stay on as CRA chair for the next year, because I've worked with Christina and directly dealt with the county commissioners. I went to the meeting and presented. We're up for this additional renewal, and I feel like there's some cohesiveness to it. You know, I told all of them that I would be personally accountable for that. And if the commission would so approve, I would like to continue to work with the CRA as the chair for another year, if possible.
I don't have a problem with it. I'll make a motion. We nominate Nancy to be the chair for CRA. I qualified, Brian. I dropped back.
I remember several years back trying to do the same thing when it came to the mayor's seat, to allow someone else to be voted, and I wasn't in favor of it at that time. Give people chances to serve as chair. So I'm not. I like to see.
Oh, you can't hear. Could you move forward?
I like to see other people serve, because we tried to do that with the mayors one time before, and I wasn't in favor of doing it. It's a rotating system, so I think we should continue to rotate it. I wouldn't have a problem if we nominate someone as the chair, and then she'd be nominated as the vice chair, and then she still can help out in that way.
But when you had the problem before, did the person volunteer?
Person volunteer?
Mm-hmm.
They volunteer, but they wanted to be.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking. You're saying it didn't work before, but...
No, I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm just saying it's going to keep the rotation going. But if y'all in favor of it, that's fine. I'm just expressing my opinion that we try to, I just like to keep getting rotated, give other people a chance. But if nobody's going to want it, that's fine. I don't have a problem.
Do I hear a nomination?
Well, let me say this. I appreciate the comments, and I agree. I think I would personally, the mayor and the CR director, I would differentiate them. That's me on my personal opinion. I don't have the time to do it, so as far as me being on the CRA and so forth, I've turned it down in the past. Simply, I don't have the time. The mayor this year took enough where I did it, but I appreciate what you're saying. I'll entertain somebody else's thoughts, but I don't have a problem with Nancy redoing it unless somebody else wants to do it. I would not have a problem with it.
Do you have a nomination?
No, I don't, because she don't want to be it.
It's not that I don't want to do it. I don't mind doing it, but two, I got so many things going in my life right now. I don't know if I can give it the gist that it's due. Mm-hmm. But if you need me to go out there to do it, I'll give it the best I can. I can tell you that much. I'll do that. But I just don't know if I got what it needs to give it 100%.
Do I hear a nomination?
Brian, you want to do anything? If not, I'm going to nominate Nancy. And then I'm going to turn around, then I would nominate Gloria for the, and I'll just say right up front that I would do Gloria for the vice. I think it's been a pretty good proposal. But so, I mean, I will go this way. I get where you're coming from. I got you. But I think we have somebody who wants to do it, which obviously I think is going to take a lot of energy and effort on things that we're doing this year. And Gloria said you're busy. I think the setup is there to be successful, with Gloria being there so as an able second in command to do it. So I would make a motion that Nancy be appointed.
We'll do it together.
This year. Okay? So that's my thing, is to Nancy to be the chair. Need a second.
Yes, I need a second.
Oh, you got it.
Okay. It's been a motion and a second that Nancy be retained as the CRA chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. The vice chair, do I hear a nomination for the vice chair to the CRA board?
You just did.
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we have Gloria as the vice chair. They both retain their seats on the CRA board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we have appointment of members to various city boards. We have Yvonne Andrews requested reappointment under the Plan Board. Do I have any discussion on that? Or do we have any discussion?
There's the other one that doesn't want to be reappointed. Have we got applications or alternates for that Plan Board position?
No.
You have to have 5 members, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, that board is going to become very important. I know we've gone years without them meeting,
But things
but
are
all of a
changing.
sudden, we're going to have all these subdivisions coming in and buds, and we have to really have a planning board that
So we need to go out and recruit.
we'll have to recruit.
Okay. So I think we need to keep Yvonne. I would vote to keep Yvonne because that gives us 4 people. And there's some history there, so I think we should keep Yvonne on the board and then recruit for an additional member as well as an alternate so that you have at least 5 members, right? No alternates on the plan board, okay.
So is that a motion to reappoint?
Yeah, I'll make that motion to reappoint Yvonne Andrews.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that Yvonne Andrews be reinstated on the, or not reinstated, continued on the Plan Board for 3-year term. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 5-0. Next is the Parks and Recreation. Ross wants to remain on the board.
I'll make a motion to keep Ross on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we retain Ross Ambrose as requested that he be reappointed for a 3-year term. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, it passes 5-0. And we still have a vacancy on the Parks and Recreation alternate. So while you're recruiting, maybe we can get one of those too.
So, Jenny, how you advertise this for these boards? Just to the newspaper?
Yes, I think, display it big enough so they can see it. I run the website and Facebook page.
There's a small stipend to that Plan Board one, isn't there? No stipend, okay.
No.
The reason I asked that question, I guess you probably, the improvements we can load it on that little thing out front, and we possibly put some out there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be good. We need an LED sign out there.
Yeah.
We need
Well,
an
I know
LED.
who would approve that. Yes. I've done a time or two on those signs.
I thought we were working on the sign at one time. What happened to that?
Well, we are, but we have to change the sign ordinance.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, and that's really up to the attorneys. We haven't generated that for years, but it's coming up because we have now more requests for those digital kinds of
Yeah.
signs. And so I see he's writing a note to himself to work on the sign ordinance.
And Rich will be the one to do it, right?
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Learning how it works.
Yeah.
Make yourself a note, Rich.
I think the other thing we talked about was the cost of it too, is when we did it, it was like 15,000 or 10,000, something like that to do it at the time, and we didn't do it because of the cost at the time too. So that's something that would have to be factored into budget down the line.
Sure, not too much problem.
Is to put it into the, I get that, but I'm just saying,
It would be a great tool for communicating to our citizens. I really think it would be valuable.
It is much, yes.
And for the CRA.
Mhm.
See, that's what we're looking at, is actually signs for the CRA, but we run into this ordinance that needs to be changed. I think it was a 1922 ordinance, so we need to bring it up to this generation.
It's very recently since they.
I'm sorry. I'm
Definitely gotta get
I'm
that one
not-
going.
I'm being facetious.
They want to keep it like they did in the Western days.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. The next item is authorize the following personnel to sign checks and investment documents in compliance with section 2-97 of the High Springs Code of Ordinances, the mayor, vice mayor, city manager, and city clerk. Yes. Yes.
Okay, well then, I will make a motion that the mayor, Linda Jones, the vice mayor, Commissioner Williams, Byron Williams, city manager, the Edwin Booth, and the city clerk, Jenny Point, be authorized signature privileges on documents.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that the following personnel sign checks and investment documents. Linda Jones as mayor, Byron Williams as vice mayor, Edwin Booth as city manager, and Jenny Parham as city clerk. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Consider resolution 2018-W.
Madam Mayor, this is Resolution 2018-W, a resolution setting the monthly salary for the office of the city commissioners and the mayor, providing an effective date, and the section that concerns this monthly salary of the city commissioners and the vice mayor for fiscal year 2018-2019 shall be $900. The monthly salary for the mayor shall be $1,000. The appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2018-W as read by title only.
Is there any discussion?
I don't have a discussion about that, but I'd like to bring up something else related to that. I wonder if we could consider allowing the commissioners to participate in the Florida State Retirement System, but they make the contribution for the creditable service years. I know that other cities do that, and a lot of people that serve on commissions are self-employed, and it would be a way for them to have access to at least acquire that retirement system. So I would like to request that we explore that possibility, but not to have any financial burden on the city for that. Or if a person wanted to participate, they would bear the full financial burden of that. I wouldn't want to put that on the citizens. So
We'll explore and bring it back.
okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Do I hear a motion on the 2018-W resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution 2018-W as read by title only. Jenny?
Mayor Jensen.
Yes.
Commissioner Lavin.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Discussion, the next item is discussion on request by Byron Sperry to purchase city property.
Madam Mayor, this came up a couple of meetings ago. We asked Mr. Sperry to put on in writing what it is that he was considering. My understanding of his proposal is that he would like to buy the 40-foot strip that runs adjacent to property that he owns for approximately $5,000. In the document that he gave us, he didn't specify who would perform the closing, that sort of thing. My understanding from city staff is that this is not an amount of funds that would interest the city to divest itself of the ownership of that right-of-way for several reasons. One is that significant funds were utilized to buy the property originally, and then the property was sold. The market decreased after the purchase, and so the city suffered a loss to begin with, and we would recoup so little of this funds by receiving the $5,000. There's some question as to whether that would complicate things as well internally based upon the funds that were used, but I know Jennifer's researched that quite extensively, but suffice to say, the bottom line is that the staff is recommending not to proceed. Furthermore, there is an interest perhaps in the future as to extending the 40-foot right-of-way further out beyond the property that as it exists now. So there is future plans, at least that the city staff has, to continue to own that right-of-way. So my suggestion is, if the commission deems it appropriate, is to politely say thank you, but no, we're not interested in selling. But again, it's up to you all as to what you would like to do with this.
In addition, in looking into it, we have ordinances. This was purchased by an ordinance, and we also have ordinances of how to get rid of excess property, and giving us or offering us something, we can't take it. We have to involve the other neighbors, and it is so complicated and it doesn't really impact him at all. That house is located many hundreds of feet away from this sort of right-of-way, but we see this right-of-way in the next 3 or 4 years actually being opened up because of the development going on in and around 220.
Well, I'm not for it. I think the deal is, I think you'd have to do the surplus thing. I think you'd have to put it out there. You'd have to put it out for bid. I don't think you could just arbitrarily do it. So,
I agree.
But I'm in favor of not doing it for $5,000. It's not worth getting rid of because you don't know what's going to happen down the road. So I don't know if there has to be any or just a consensus by us, but I would not be for selling it.
Mr. Attorney, do we need to?
I would request you just file have a motion to decline the offer, and that way I can say specifically there was a motion and a vote.
I'll make that. I make a motion that we decline the request by Mr. Sperry to purchase the city property as designated in his proposal.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we do not honor the request by Mr. Sperry to purchase city property. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 5-0. Consider ordinance 2018-06.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Let me catch up just a second.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, this is an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, relating to the text of the City of High Springs Land Development Code pursuant to an application LDC 18-01 by the City Commission, providing for deleting and replacing in its entirety Article 4, Part 4.02.00 entitled Floodplain Protection to comply with the Federal Emergency Management Agency regulations, repealing all ordinances in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2018-06 as read by title only.
Is there any discussion?
This is just to get in line with the, Mr. Walker?
Yes, sir.
That's the reason why this is
Correct.
just to keep us compliant with federal language.
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
It changes nothing, it just
Puts us in
puts
line.
us in line with the
Okay.
federal government.
Just wanted to clarify. And I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2018-06 as written.
I'll make a second on that.
It's been moved and seconded that we pass the ordinance 2018-06 as read. Jenny?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Next item is, what happened to my, oh dear. Consider ordinance 2018-09.
Madam Mayor, this is an ordinance amending the adopted 2017-2018 fiscal year budget of the City of High Springs, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2018-09 upon its first reading by title only.
Right, there was a few minor adjustments, but basically it's the same budget that got approved.
This is our cleanup for the
Yeah.
financial statements. And, you know, I apologize that y'all get it today, but there's a second reading, but I try to have as much, because you have to put actuals in here, so I try to make sure I have all the invoices in for up to 9:30. So, as I said, you have the second reading, but as Mr. Booth said, this is truing up, and, you know, moving the money, because nobody can have a negative budget. So we have to true up to make sure the people's expenditures. I try to do a little recap of people that were over, highlighted in the yellow, so you would have a description of why they were. Then this is your general fund, and then your water, sewer, and fire, solid waste are the back. They all true up. The transfers have not been done, but as I said earlier, that report will be done the first Monday of the week of Thanksgiving, so we'll have the transfers. We can decide whether to use the new ones or the old ones, so that will be done for the second reading.
Do I hear a motion?
Do you need to make a motion? Okay, I make a motion that we approve the final budget revision for fiscal year 2017-2018.
A second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the budget, the amended budget for 2017-2018.
You gotta approve the ordinance name, right?
Yes, the 2018-09.
I'm sorry.
I lost my my agenda, so I'm going by this paperwork here.
Oh.
Thank you. All those in favor, has it been seconded? I was busy looking for my papers. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the 2018-09 as read. Jenny?
Vice Mayor Bowden?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Jamison?
Yes.
Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Mayor Lavin?
Yes.
It has been moved. It has been passed 5-0. Next item is discuss and consider utilizing qualified opinion in place of OPEB study. I had
This
the
is
same
a
thing.
Gatsby requirement, and there is a study out there that basically says if we're not really impacted, then in place of doing a
The OPEB study. Basically, what the OPEB it's for benefits for retirees. So what it is if it's that study that says, okay, potentially you may have somebody retire, and your insurance will have older people, so your insurance will go up. Now, we don't know what that amount is. They don't tell you that. They just say, put this much liability. Now, we have an unqualified, our audit is got an unqualified opinion. This will be a qualified opinion that will go into the audit, but the cost is $3,000 first year, $1,500 second year, third year back to $3,000. So every year it costs to have this done. And
For the OPEB study,
for
not
the
for
OPEB,
the,
for the
qualified
OPEB study.
opinion. Okay.
To do the qualified, it's not the, and our auditors actually said that there's many, many, many small cities that are doing this. Chiefland has been doing it for 7 or 8 years. What they can come back to do is say, we're not going to, they can come back and say, well, no, we're not going to agree, you have to do it. Then we're just going to have to get it done.
So my only concern is, does that change any of our ratings? By having a qualified opinion in the auditor's report, will that affect us any financially in ratings or anything?
Not that, no.
Because I like the unqualified report.
I do too, but I also think that if
I understand. It's stupid to spend the money.
it is.
Right. It's stupid to spend the money. And they gave you this, the auditor that we voted to use for the next 3 years?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Well, I read through it and didn't understand it.
It is.
I'm sorry.
Let me tell you, it is one of the most confusing things to have to try to explain to you all, because it doesn't make any sense.
I remember you saying that before.
There is some liability that we will always carry for post-employment benefits. That's just any employer has that liability, but they're asking you to quantify it by doing the study, and this alleviates the quantification is basically what it is. You don't have to come up with some crazy number.
We do not have any retirees, first of all. Essentially, we could, but we also have an older workforce already. We do. I mean, that's the name. I'm not looking at you. Myself included.
Yeah.
We're all.
We're looking at Angela over there. Angela.
But so we already have an older thing. Like, as I said, the big thing we'll have a qualified opinion. Excuse me.
On that one section. On that one.
Yeah, on that section. So.
Just on that section.
I believe it's only on that section. Yes.
Okay.
Do we need to vote to say we don't want it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I hear a motion
Motion made
that we do not?
Yeah.
Okay.
That we don't want what?
Don't-
Yeah, that we
OPEB
not
study.
approve.
We don't want a qualified opinion. Not under the circumstances.
No, she's asking us to accept the qualified opinion versus the OPEB study to save funds.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's $3,000 and then $1,500 for the study,
Right.
which really is not giving any quantifiable data that would change our financial statements, right? Is that correct?
Thank you.
We just don't like that word. We don't like the word qualified, that's all.
Do I hear a second?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We can use the qualified.
It has been moved and seconded that we, I don't even know how to say this. I
You
really
say
don't.
okay. Okay.
Use that guy over there. I did this. He's the vice. You do it, man.
Well, I don't even know how you,
Sure. What you want?
That we utilize a qualified opinion in
Okay,
place
we
of the
utilize
OPEB.
qualified opinion in place of the OPEC study.
Very well said.
That we need?
okay.
Now y'all gotta increase my pay.
Maybe next year.
Right.
You go, man. You're done.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next item is consider ordinance number 2018-10.
Madam Mayor, this is ordinance number 2018-10, an ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, pursuant to the petition number ANX 18-02, relating to the voluntary annexation, making findings, annexing to and including within the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, certain real property located in Alachua County, Florida, which is reasonably compact and contiguous to the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, redefining the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, providing for land use classification of the real property to be annexed, providing that effective January 1st, 2019, the real property to be annexed shall be assessed for payment of municipal ad valorem taxes and shall be subject to all general and special assessments, providing that the existing licensed businesses, trades, or professions operating within the real property to be annexed may continue such businesses, trades, or professions throughout the entire boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, directing the city clerk within 7 days of the effective date of this ordinance to file certified copies of this ordinance with the Florida Department of State, Florida Office of Economic and Demographic Research, the clerk of the Circuit Court of Alachua County, Florida, the chief administrative officer of Alachua County, Florida, the property appraiser at the Alachua County of Alachua County, Florida, the tax collector of Alachua County, Florida, and all public utilities authorized to conduct business within the City of High Springs, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance 2018-10 as read by title only.
That was a long one.
That was a long
was a long one. Yeah, another. That's right.
Oh, boy.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass ordinance 2018-10.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we pass ordinance 2018-10.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Oh.
How many acres is it
50.25.
And what's the other one? The one that's coming up? 8 something?
1.82.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say the same thing I always ask on this one before we vote, and I'm going to vote for it. I want to make darn sure that we have, and you and I have talked about this.
Yes.
Things in place to provide the adequate water
Capacity.
and sewer capacity. So I want to make sure, because I don't want us to annex in this land. Somebody comes in and wants to start laying lines, and we sit there and tell them, sorry, man, we don't have the capacity.
No, we're not doing
I know you're working on it, but I always got to ask that because, okay, I'm done.
You okay, Jenny?
Yes.
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 Motion passes 5-0.
That's enough.
That's how he treated his kids, too. That's enough. You're sick. Forget it.
And they listen, though.
The next item is consider ordinance 2018-11.
An ordinance of the City of High Springs, Florida, pursuant to petition number ANX 18-03 related to voluntary annexations, making findings, annexing to and including within the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, certain real property located in Alachua County, Florida, which is reasonably compact and contiguous to the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, redefining the boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, providing for land use classification of the real property to be annexed, providing that effective January 1st, 2019, the real property to be annexed shall be assessed for payment of municipal ad valorem taxes and be subject to all general and special assessments, providing that the existing licensed businesses, trades, or professions operating within the real property to be annexed may continue such businesses, trades, or professions throughout the entire boundaries of the City of High Springs, Florida, directing the city clerk within 7 days of the effective date of this ordinance to file certified copies of this ordinance with the Florida Department of State, the Florida Office of Economic and Demographic Research, the clerk of the Circuit Court of Alachua County, Florida, the chief administrative officer of Alachua County, Florida, the property appraiser of Alachua County, Florida, the tax collector of Alachua County, Florida, and all public utilities authorized to conduct business within the city of High Springs, Florida, provided severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass ordinance number 2018-11 as read by title only.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2018-11.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we pass ordinance 2018-11.
Yes.
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 Gracious. Motion passes 5-0.
Yeah, question.
Oh.
Well, in the world frame, this little.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff just running together.
I think your glasses need to be changed.
You want to borrow my light? Here, borrow my
Oh,
light.
man, that's a small print. So I know you couldn't read from this, Scott.
No.
You got to have your bifocals on doing this work.
Okay, the next item of business is, hold on. Oh, we have a memorandum of understanding for use of property tax.
Madam Mayor, we've been in touch, and actually, with the manager's permission, I'd let Rich talk about this one if that's acceptable to the manager.
We actually put a call into the appraiser's attorney because there have been questions raised by several of our municipality clients about this memo of understanding. So we do appreciate the fact that the city of High Springs has put this on the agenda for some discussion, but we have yet to hear back from that attorney. And one of our recommendations when we have that conversation is going to be to actually designate a representative from the appraiser's office to come and speak before the municipalities and answer some questions, because I don't know that there's enough information based on what they've given us for us to be able to make a decision. And we would suggest that this particular item maybe get moved for discussion to a later date until we have more information. For instance, the memo speaks to this contract with the audit service group, but they don't provide us with that contract, so we have no idea exactly what those terms are. And some of the questions would be, what happens if that auditing service is terminated? How does that work in terms of how are they compensated? You might have read in that memo of understanding that there's a percentage that the audit service is supposed to be paid. How far back in time does it go? Is it limited to a particular calendar year? How does it work going forward? In terms of will they claim that, or does the contract speak to whether the savings applies prospectively as well? And so there's just a lot of issues that we just don't know without seeing all the terms of the contract. And so we would recommend getting a copy of that contract, providing that to the commission to consider, but also maybe having somebody here who can answer some questions about how it's supposed to operate.
Okay. Do we need to?
We request to be tabled
Okay.
the next meeting, or until the property appraisers can come to us and answer the questions or maybe present
Okay.
our thought.
So we don't need to vote on
No, we'll just
Okay.
schedule it.
Okay.
Do we need to put that
Do we
into
need
a
a
motion,
motion?
Jenny, where it goes into the next one? Just because it's in an indefinite, it's indefinite? Okay.
City attorney report.
Madam Mayor, there's several items that I'd like to bring up. One is that we've been asked to do the ethics training. What we are contemplating offering, and we're going to look at, we have looked at our schedule for the rest of the year, and as you know, public officers and officials have to have 4 hours of ethics training before December 31st. So we've looked at our schedule and calendar, and Rich and I have December 17th available. And what we would suggest to do is invite all the cities to our office. We'll have something to eat and something to drink while you're there. And it would start at 4 p.m. and at 8 p.m. The hope is that you'd be able to socialize with some of the other mayors and commissioners of the other cities, obtain the ethics training. You can do this online if you so choose. There's tapes that we can get and make available, so if that doesn't work for you, there's another way to do it. But we thought it might be a good idea to have this available to the commission. It's a little different than what we've done in years gone by, but just we're getting at the end of the stage of the year, and to get it done, this is what we would like to offer you if you would like to take advantage of it. If any of you want to do that, let us know, and we'll get you on the sign up, and we'll get it done. And we'll get a formal letter out to you that says here's what we're doing on December 17th as well.
Okay.
Second item I'd like to talk about. There's a businessman in town that owns the High Springs Diner. His name is Jerry Wakefield. He's contacted our office several times since we had the event where our water lines were ruptured. The city lost virtually, I think, all of our water tank. And my understanding is not only did insult to injury happened about a week later or several days later, the water lines were ruptured by the same company, Windstream, again. Mr. Wakefield feels aggrieved that he has lost monies and expended funds because of the water loss to his business, and he's requested that we send a letter to Windspring. His damages, I think, were roughly $5,000, Rich, I think.
The actual written claim he submitted is a little over $3,000, but he's mentioned to me up to $5,500 on the phone.
So to help the businessman, owner, if you direct me to do this, we can send a letter to Windstream. Won't be any extra if, this is under your contract. We're not filing suit or any of that sort of thing. But we would suggest on behalf of Mr. Wakefield, since he's contacted us and he's a local business owner, that we would send a letter to Windstream if you so choose, or you want to direct us to do that. So that's it's something that's up to your manager and you as the commission. If you want us to do that, we would be happy to do that and push the issue a little bit in that way. If you would like us to do it, I'm getting head nods. That's good enough.
Yes.
We can do that.
I think we should, because I know they suffered. I know a lot of the businesses that were restaurant type businesses had additional burdens put on them during those water issues, because they had to go out and buy bottled water to cook with. I mean, there was an additional cost to all of those, that were affected. So I think just sending a letter to let them know, sometimes that helps.
We did send a letter initially. Your manager directed us to do that to Windstream when this originally occurred, and said, look, we're putting you on notice that you're doing this work without permit. You kind of got started in a bad way, and you need to get permitting, and you damaged the city and business owners. So they were on notice.
Did they pay to repair did Windstream reimburse us for that?
So, but we would specify this is on behalf of one business. There may be other businesses on it, but this is one business. We're sending a letter. So I will go ahead and do that. We'll, of course, copy your manager, so you'll see that in your packet. Last item is that we've been in contact with Julie Name, who's the attorney for the Homeowners Association for Oak Ridge. She's just got her red line version. We sent out our proposal earlier, I want to say about 2.5 weeks ago, and now we've gotten her red line version back today, and the anticipation is, and I'll have to look at her changes. I have not had an opportunity to do that yet, but I will look at that. Our anticipation is if we're in agreement with the changes, we'll have that on the agenda for the 27th. I have also gotten a couple of letters through Commissioner Lavin. They are from Kenneth Sweeney, who is one of the owners of property. Apparently, Mr. Sweeney and also his wife, Barbara Sweeney, have foreclosed on several lots 84, 91, and 102 in Oak Ridge Phase 2. They're trying to recoup their losses as a result of, they're very frustrated, it's apparent from their letters, and they're asking some questions. Their letters deserve a reply based upon what the city is doing and the dates we've done it, which I believe we're being timely. I believe other staff is reacting on a timely basis. They feel differently. They feel that they're being further put out in the situation they find themselves in trying to recoup their monies on their properties. But we will get a very detailed letter out to Mr. Sweeney and Mrs. Sweeney, and I think we're sympathetic to their situation that they find themselves in, but we're also in a situation where the city should not be taking money out of its pocket to fix infrastructure that needs to be fixed. And it's just, we're going to help the situation as much as we can, but we can't be put into the position where now the city is responsible for these infrastructure improvements. We can track the finalization of these homes with the repair of the infrastructure. These things can run on the same mutual tracks and get this done as expeditious, but we have to have that done. And we have to have assurances that these infrastructure improvements will get done, and that's what the city has been requesting all the way through. So this is, I'm just keeping you advised of this matter is not resolved yet. We're hoping that we're going to get there. We seem to have kind of a bumpy road along the way, unfortunately. This is one of those developments that has been bumpy for a long time. As you remember, Innovative Home Builders went out of business, and so this is a difficult one, but I think we're going to get there in the final analysis. That's all I have. Rich, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
That's everything.
City Manager?
You bet. 2 weeks ago, we had a small water outage. Thankfully, we had a shut off. It was in the western part of the town, lasted for 2 days, and then it was over. It tells you, because otherwise, we would have had a boil water notice for the entire city. So it's very important that we have these shut offs.
Right.
I'd like to show some pictures of the project. Yeah, we found rock. And they have brought in another excavator that from their quarry, and they're just cutting through it like butter. And so this is just what they put down as a safety thing. That's the excavator. There you go. That's the excavator that they're using. And then we have, I thought we had a hole. No? Anyway, they're going about 24 feet down, so they're really going down there and cutting up. The return line actually will be the other side of the road will be much, it's only going to be about 6 feet. So once they get all this large digging done and they're going to be through in another week or so with this side, then they'll do the rest. Okay, thank you. Had a meeting 1 November with Tim Norman, myself, at the Swanee River Water Management District. All the projects are a go, and this will take us for about 3 years. We have added one more project, and that is 3A, and that is called Gondola Gardens. It is the subdivision just off of 222. Off to the right, there's about 110 homes, and as you heard, many of these septic systems are failing. In fact, in the area that we're doing it now, many of the septic systems are failing. And you know, it's a sad because they have to keep pumping those systems, so we're moving ahead just as fast as we can. On the 6th of November, I had a inspection team from the CDB grant system, and they went over everything in the application. We were 100% expect to get a go-ahead on that project. We are also looking for other areas because the state is well behind in executing the CDB program. So the area that we are now doing, and also the area of Gondola Gardens, we're going to try to put those into the system and do that through. They have just upped the rate from $700,000 to $1 million, and so.
What about the part from Maine over to the new water line area, that 5 or 6 blocks?
That's the one we had an audit.
Okay.
And we were 100%.
No, the one that you just got audited goes from like 6th
True.
west. What about from Maine to 6th? Because we have a lot of bad water lines in that area.
Yeah, it's not the water line so much as it's the income of the homes.
They're not high-income homes in that
True.
area.
We'll take a look at it.
Because that's part of that old system.
Right.
That's really deteriorating where there aren't shut-off valves. And that's one of the areas that still is part of that old system.
Understand. We'll take a look at that. I'm looking for more and more areas since we're in good graces with the CDB people, and we can execute where many of the cities are not able to. So it's a good thing. On the 4th of December, the fire chief and myself, we have a meeting at the county commissioners, and we're going to, or they're going to discuss the contracts with all the fire departments. And so that's a good thing, and I'm sure we'll be able to go to the ALS after that. And the homestead exemption that we were worried about, it didn't make the cut. Voters voted it down, and therefore we can just move on without having to worry about loss of revenue. That's it.
I have a lot, I'm sorry. I need to read the letter that Scott was talking about. Mr. Ken Sweeney called me and talked to me about his frustration, and I told him he was welcome to come to us at any time. You know, anybody was welcome to. So his wife emailed me a letter, which I gave everybody a copy. Today he sent me an email asking me if I could read this. To the High Springs City Commission, I would like to request the City Commission include consideration of the issuance of permits and the acceptance of the roads in Phase 2 of Oak Ridge on the Commission's November 27th agenda. The Homeowners Association has been working with the city to resolve the Phase 2 roadway and permit issues for a while, or for quite some time, but the issues have not been resolved. We've been patient through this negotiation process, but we need the Commission to consider and finally resolve these issues. If this issue is not resolved at the meeting on November 27th, I will not continue to support the association's effort and will be withdrawing my funding support. Thank you, Kenneth Sweeney, owner lots 8491 and 102 Oak Ridge Phase 2. Okay, so we turn that over to the attorney and the city manager to do what they will. Another thing that I've had a whole lot of complaints about that we have to do something about, the buzzards in downtown are being brought to downtown because of the cat food that's being left out at various locations all over downtown, and the buzzards really like cat food. And I've had many business owners complain to me about the buzzards collecting around these cat food sites. We have a cat food feeding station in front of the CRA building that we keep moving, and someone keeps putting the cat food out. People feel like it's a health hazard, and I have to agree with them. Is there a county ordinance that prohibits feeding stray animals because somebody's feeding these animals without getting, any medical? And if not, can we create an ordinance to keep people from feeding stray animals so that we then don't have all these buzzards downtown waiting for the cat food. So that's a question that's been brought to me by many of the business owners that come into their buildings in the morning and the buzzards are waiting for them and they're up on the water tower and we had to move the gazebo because of the buzzards. So that's something. Do you have any opinion, attorney, sir?
I don't know the answer to, I don't believe there is an ordinance in existence that I can't remember if the county ordinance is applied in the city of High Springs. I can do a little bit of work maybe to see if I can find it. I just don't remember the answer under Media Code. I'll look at that in just a moment. But I don't think there is in the county ordinance or in the city ordinance a provision that says people can't feed stray animals. But I'll look at that in just a moment.
Because I know other counties have ordinances that say if you're feeding them, you've got to get them medical care, you've got to register them, whatever, so that they don't have these legions of stray cats or stray dogs roaming around. So could we look into that so we could maybe reduce the buzzard population in downtown? The other thing I wanted to ask about was could we set up some visioning workshops to do a 3-year and a 5-year plan for economic growth, how we're going to create jobs, what are we going to do about the water, the roads, the fire, and the police with these developments that are going to want to come on. Can we set something up so that first of the year we start doing some visioning, workshops so that we know where the citizens want us to go with these decisions. I think we need input from our citizens in these areas. And then we need to look at restructuring our administrative organization. Mr. Booth has said, it's gotten to the point where it's too much for one person, and we really need to look at who do we want to do human resources. Scott brought that up at the meeting, I don't know when, a couple of months ago, about, maybe we need to look at a part-time person. We maybe need to have that as a conversation in a workshop type, rather than taking up meeting time. And I think that's it. And the Oak Ridge thing. Thank you.
Yeah, they do their due diligence.
Commissioner. James. Sorry.
That's
I
all
was
right.
back on the cat still.
That issue with the cat is not a new issue. It's been out there for quite a long time. That's why that gazebo was moved from where it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the cats were taken over, and we took them and put it over by the chamber. So that's been an issue for quite a while. Now, so far, they haven't come over there to feed the cats over there. Not yet. So maybe it's working. I
They're
don't
not
know.
feeding the cats over there. They're still feeding them over there.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They didn't come over there yet, and that's a good thing. And two, I want to say thank you for working on that situation with Mr. Wakefield and the funds that he lost with the water main break.
Right.
Because he's been concerned about that for a long, long time. So that's a good thing too. I'm glad to hear that. And also, Mr. Booth, I'm also glad to hear that you guys are working on the system down in what we call Gondola Garden.
Yes, ma'am. Didn't I say that? No.
I thought you did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been long overdue, so I'm glad to see you that things are progressing and moving right along.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Jameson, you good? Vice Mayor Williams.
The cats. Game had that problem too. Around with my shop hills. It's a 2006 Grand Marquis. You feed them every day. Every day. So, but the buzzard, I don't know how true it is. They see you shoot off fireworks, they'll go away.
Well, maybe we should start doing fireworks a couple times a year downtown.
Put a gun range over there, Chief.
Well, I know, but the buzzards are protected.
Now, we did have a city manager that sent the firefighters out with guns to shoot chickens.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No. Yeah, they're still talking about that.
Yes, only thing else I have is, for farm share, we serve 317 households. Individuals, we served 815, and we had 39 volunteers for that Saturday. So it was a good turnout, and they're looking to do it again soon. I keep telling them we can't do it every month, but we'll look at
Every
the
2
calendar.
months, no problem.
We'll look at the calendar so we can do
You
it.
bet.
That's all I have.
The cats. You know, in Gainesville, they'll come and pick them up and they'll neuter them in their ears, but they'll bring them right back. So there's cats everywhere. And I'm an animal lover. I hate to see, but boy, I'll tell you, they can be a real problem. I don't know what we're going to, fireworks? Maybe.
I think fireworks sounds like a great idea.
Right.
If we get rid of the buzzards.
You can see them circling. I understand the business owner's concerns. It's even, you know, when you're driving into the city, you can see them.
There is the dumpster back behind the El Patio restaurant, that big dumpster. They really like that dumpster.
Oh, my God.
So I don't know if it's a big enough dumpster, but that's another place they kind of hang out, back behind the El Patio.
I don't know how you're going to control that. That's weird.
No.
I have nothing further. Do I hear a?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you all.
I like saying that part.